Pompey Sound. Updates, the latest from Fratton Park, on the hour, every hour. Fueled by Piglet's Pantry. Click pigletspantry.co.uk to get your fill.
Callum Lang's return was a well-kept secret. He's been talking about it, saying this.
I had a feeling I was going to be in the squad, because I trained all week. It's just a great feeling to be out there again. I wasn't sure I was coming on, because the plan was for a different substitution, but then Josh Murphy, went down. I've been training a week, and you can get by on that, and your first game on adrenaline. The plan over the past few weeks was more for Hull, to be honest. But I've been back in training, and I'm a week or two ahead of where I thought I'd be. I've just been working hard to get back, living right and eating right. I did everything I can to get fit and stay fit, so I always thought I'd be able to get back a bit quicker than we first thought. We were aiming for Hull, but I had a good week's training, and I feel strong. There was whispers of Lang being available to start against Watford heading into the game, but the former Wigan man explained that was never on the cards. The 10-goal attacker is hopeful of building on his outing against Sheffield Wednesday and Hull City in the final two games, however. Lang added, "I don't think there was ever a chance of starting, but when I heard there was a sub at half-time, my head popped up. Maybe 45 minutes would have been too much, but I was just happy to get on the pitch. I'm happy to be back out there, and just pleased I was able to play a part in the win. Hopefully I can pick up some more minutes now moving forward. I feel like I can get some minutes into my legs."
So we can enjoy the last two games of what has been a nail-biting season, but one which, all's well that ends well. And we can go into next season, no matter what transfer dealings are done, knowing that we have the spine of a side that can match anybody in the Championship. Home, for sure. What we're looking for, of course, is away as well. I won't mention all the names of the players who are clearly Championship Plus material. When I say Championship Plus, I'm talking more than mid-table Championship players. Naturally, that includes Colby Bishop, it includes Callum Lang, Shaughnessy at the back. We may or may not have the services of Atkinson as well, but we've got Regan Poole and we've got Josh Murphy. We've got ourselves a goalkeeper, we've got a bunch of great defenders. We'll see about replacing Freddie Potts. That's going to have to be done one way or another, but we have the spine of a side that can welcome anybody to Fratton Park in the Championship and give them a good game. Now we have to transfer that to when we go on the road, and perhaps we need to bolster ourselves, maybe double up in a couple of other positions. But we will go into the break celebrating when the final whistle goes against Hull, and really looking forward to the start of next season with two very special matches in prospect. Where Isaac Hayden will be playing his football next season is in doubt, as the Geordie Boot Boys explain.
Since arriving at Fratton Park to play alongside former Toon teammate Matt Ritchie, Hayden has made 15 Championship appearances. His most recent one came on Monday, as Pompey beat Watford 1-0. The result moved them up to 16th in the Championship table, while it means that they are safe in the second tier with 2 games remaining. There will be no League One return for Portsmouth, and Hayden has expressed his delight at securing Pompey's place in the Championship next season on his official Instagram account. He wrote, "Delighted to have achieved safety with 2 games remaining. For the players, the coaching and backroom staff, everyone deserves it for all the hard work and dedication through adversity at times this season. Hopefully we can finish the season on a high with good performances in the remaining games, giving momentum for the club next season." While Portsmouth are going to be in the Championship next season, it is unclear where Hayden will be. His loan spell expires at the end of the campaign, and he will return to St James's Park. However, there is no future for Hayden at Newcastle United. He has not made a first-team appearance for the Magpies since December 2021, and that is not going to change anytime soon. That means Hayden is set for another summer of uncertainty. He will need to find another club, and the midfielder will be eager to identify a permanent home. That will be Newcastle United's wish too, as Hayden prepares to enter the final 12 months of his Toon contract. His current deal is due to expire in the summer of 2026, having signed a 6-year contract with the Magpies back in 2020.
Last summer, when Pompey were letting, it was getting on for a dozen players go, wasn't it? John Messina was quoted as saying that, "I'm not in this to make friends. I'm in this to win games. And we can only suppose that he retains that attitude. And we should be glad that he has it, because we like going to a game of football where our team wins. As simple as that, isn't it? And he seems to be able to do that. Is he still the most successful in points per games Pompey manager of all time? Well, obviously this season hasn't helped his score, but we've had worse. Anyway, back to the main point. 2 games to go now in the season, and again it will test his sentimentality, because we'll get a clue as to whether they're going to pursue Hayward, who's definitely got another season in him at the top end of the Championship, definitely, surely. Andre Dizelle, same thing. He's come on in leaps and bounds. Freddie Potts, we're almost certain to lose. Shame, but you've got to start planning. Not just now, but before now. We've got to be planning for the replacement of 1 or 2 or all of those players I just mentioned at Christmas, if not even before then. That's how far you've got to look ahead, and you've got to get your contacts warm and get your assessments of players right. So it's going on at the moment. But back to whether or not there'll be any sentimentality in keeping Hayward, because he's solid enough. But above all, will John Messino start the home game against Hull with Marlon Pack not only at the centre of midfield, which is where he has played the lion's share, and I use that phrase under advice, the lion's share of his lion-like career, in the centre of midfield, start against Hull with Marlon Pack, not only in the centre of midfield, but with the captain's armband. Because Marlon Pack is heading towards what will probably be a decent, if not illustrious, career as a coach, as a manager. There's no 2 ways about it. It might even be that John Messino and the staff above John, Andy, Cullen, have been plotting some sort of role for Marlon Pack at Pompey, because he is revered as a player and as a leader and as a tactician. And he does when he's playing, he does an awful lot of work on the tactics and the formation and the weight of space that players are given on the pitch, whether we pull back and have 5 in midfield solidly for a breather for 20 minutes, all the things that go on that we don't really know about. And John Messino, for all his sign language, can't communicate with all his players if after 20 minutes we're a goal up and he wants some changes, or to stay the same, or if we're a goal down and he must make some changes, how to communicate the subtleties of those changes. Very difficult for him from the technical area, but not for a man of the calibre of Marlon Pack. So, whilst we may be saying goodbye to Hayden, and we're very grateful to him for what he's contributed to what's turned out to be a satisfying season, we wonder about Dizelle as well. We think we know about Potts, but then again in football you never know. But Marlon Pack, are we seeing the last of him? And if so, should he have the opportunity to bring down the curtain on his playing career as being his main source of contribution to his club, playing? And is he starting to move towards some kind of player management role? And if so, is he bringing down the curtain on being a specialist footballer in the last game of the season in the sunshine of Fratton Park against Hull, with 18,000 Pompey fans singing and laughing and knees-upping and enjoying the whole moment and wanting to pay homage to Marlon Pack? Because won't there be a run around of the pitch after Hull? Won't there be? No one will go home when the final whistle goes, because the players are going to be out there with their wives and girlfriends and families and children. Do you remember last season? All those kids, the Messino family, the kids kicking the ball around. It was beautiful, and everyone stayed and everyone applauded, and that's what we want to happen after the Hull game. And will it be a tear in the eye moment for Marlon Pack? When I say let's hope so, let's hope it's because it's one of those happy tears. The BBC have published the words of Tom Chappell, who writes for 4-0 All Over It, and it does make interesting reading.
Yesterday, John Mousinho cemented himself as my favourite Pompey manager in living memory. His back-to-back triumphs of promotion from League One, with a handful of games to spare, twinned with surviving this season, with some of the biggest challenges imaginable thrown at him, are two truly remarkable accomplishments, achieved by a truly remarkable man. I would argue that survival in the Championship for Pompey is just as big, if not perhaps a bigger achievement than the title-winning success last season. To back that up, I'd point to the luckless injury run which has seemingly plagued the campaign, some of the run of games and fixture list, or lack thereof given postponements, and a number of officiating calls to our detriment as some of the salient undertones to a turbulent first season in the second tier in over a decade. During the second half against Watford, the pressure of what was at stake wore on our faces. The longer the lead remained at a slender 1-0, despite multiple Pompey opportunities, the more pressure seemed to mount. Watford demonstrated a real elegance on the ball and looked capable of hurting Pompey at any given moment. Yet it was only really a world-class tip onto the crossbar from Nicola Schmid that properly moved him all afternoon. The 10 minutes of stoppage time seemed never-ending before Sam Allison blew the all-important full-time whistle. Pompey now have 2 games to bask in their glory, full in the knowledge that they will be competing at this level for at least another season. Post-match comments from both Mousinho and Regan Poole regarding finishing strong will chime well with supporters. There's a very plausible argument to be made that when all is said and done, Pompey's ultimate final league position could look incredibly comfortable.
As the season draws to a close, we're entitled to start thinking about things like our favourite goal of the season, our player of the season, of course, our happiest time of the season, the best game of the season, and, we'll also do the worst game of the season. I think we all know what that was, but anyway. But looking back over this season, there's one thing that I would like to highlight as being my something of the season, because like a lot of Pompey fans, I despair at the drip fee, the trickle really, of unpleasant comments on social media about the people that we care about. We care about our club, and we care about the players and the management and the owners. We care about these people because they're Pompey people in one capacity or another, so we care about them because they're family. And only last weekend, I saw a comment on social media which actually was picked up and passed on by one of our regional newspapers as if it was worth printing. Ha! Guys, nobody's that desperate for news that they publish something heinous, good word, heinous, that is posted on social media. And it was this. Somebody had written that the Eisner's transfer policy, or attitude towards transfers, or spending on transfers, is, and here's the word, disgusting. I mean, so many things, too many things in life, in the world, are disgusting. Wartime atrocities, violence against vulnerable victims, children, women, animals. That's disgusting. There are other things that are disgusting, but I'm not even going to list them. We know what they are, and we all have our own lists. And probably everybody, almost everybody, has an accurate perception of the validity or otherwise of a very potent, harsh word, disgusting, disgusting. Whoever this anonymous person was, because of course it was an anonymous post, it was somebody called Wibbly Wobbly or Ding Dang Dong 666, called the Eisner's activities disgusting in relation to disgusting. And that for me is going to sing throughout the close season, because it just reminds us all that we do sometimes share a stadium with... No, wait a minute, do we? Do such people actually go to the game? I know there's a conspiracy theory that some of these things are posted by fans from up the road trying to destabilise things. I don't believe that. There's no evidence. But do they go to the game, or are they armchair fans? Fans? They're not fans. Fans have a fanatical, that's where the word comes from, a fanatical devotion, a passion, a devotion to a cause, whether it's a nation in the form of patriotism, or your family in the name of blood being thicker than water. You know, but there is out there, as they say, somebody who believes it's right to make the accusation that this wonderful family, who, let's never forget, Tom back there was saying what a wonderful manager John Messino is. And we ain't seen the half of him. Believe me, I'm certain. We ain't seen the half of him. He's going all the way. Will he win the World Cup and hold it aloft as the manager of the England World Cup winning team? I wouldn't put it past him. Would you? Would you? No. He's that blooming good. And the Eisners picked him out from the bunch, when so many other owners would have gone for the tried and trusted, unshaven, come on, get it up and under 'em and get it in the mix and play long and get stuck in and 5 yellow cards before half-time sort of managers. So many owners would have gone with one of those. Not the Eisners. They suddenly began to realise during the interviews over Zoom between Oxfordshire and California that they were talking to somebody a bit special, and they spotted it. And when his appointment was announced, how many Pompey fans spotted it? Almost none. Almost none. Our dear Sam Stone, who makes excellent contributions to Pompey, Pompey Sound, which we're so grateful for, because he's a professional broadcaster of the highest calibre, but a Pompey fan through and through. Him and his dad came along to do a Dan Shaw quiz. Excellent quiz Dan Shaw does at the end of every year. Looking forward already, rubbing hands with glee, etc., for his Pompey quiz at the end of this coming year. And Sam Stone showed up with Dad, who was doing the driving. I think Sam might have had a couple the night before, in which case. And so, yeah, that's what you do, father and son. But the dad said to me, standing outside the pub where we did the quiz, he said, I have to put my hands up. I love saying it. I was wrong. I was astonished when we hired John Messino, and it took a matter of months before I realised that I was wrong, that he's possibly the best manager we've ever had, because he is. And so many of us were wrong. An unknown, unheard of central defender, part-time for Oxford United, who'd never done any coaching at all. And Pompey hired him. Yeah, and look what we got. So it's a nice piece by Tom. If you want to read it in its entirety, go to the BBC website. BBC Radio Solent, I think, have published it, and it's well worth a detailed read. But the gist of it, John Messino is the best Pompey manager in living memory. I'd buy that. Wouldn't you?